Now, you can make the argument that, NPR, ABC, CNN, Daily Mail, they all show Trump, minus 10, 12, 10, 14, 13, 10. That's pretty comparable, right? But this whole 100 days, it's like during the same period, one of these polls would have Trump at +9 and one would have him like -3. I'm like, how is that possible that we're getting such wildly different numbers? What I do think matters is that if you track any single poll that you trust, and so Rasmussen we trust, and they are showing Trump down. So comparing Rasmussen to itself, you don't necessarily know if it reflects the greater population at this 100 days, but you do know that it reflects the movement of how people are feeling, because Rasmussen polls generally the same way every time. So if we want to argue that they're the most accurate, or they tend to be very accurate, and they do, I believe the past several elections, they were all within the margin of error, pretty spot on, then this shows that Trump has gone down a bit. The question for you guys, I think, is do you believe the American population really holds Trump at a double-digit negative view right now? Or do you think that the corporate press is just playing games?
Corporate press. I mean, isn't he still down in Iowa 14 points? Remember that poll that came out just before the election? Yeah. I mean, what's more important here, too, is do you think the White House cares? And when you have this constant spin with the tariffs and everything that he's doing, he's taking very, very bold moves. Again, the strongest moves I've seen from a president just in general in my lifetime coming in, other than maybe Biden, who tried to reverse everything from Trump as soon as he came in.
I'm loving this, right? Joe Biden, who tried to decree a constitutional amendment, and they're saying Trump is a dictator.
Yeah. So is this what's going to happen? So every time we get a new administration and it switches to the other party, they're just going to undo everything that everybody did through executive order?
No.
No?
No, because society is collapsing and the end is nigh.
So by the time the next administration comes in, there won't be a government?
No, I'm kidding. Like I do think you're largely correct, but I will stress, obviously, we have this Matt Taibbi article where he's asking about civil war, and it's because people largely missed this story, which is interesting. He's just writing about it now, that a whole bunch of uniparty Democrats wrote a letter vowing to mobilize and stop Trump recently. And I'm just seeing this. I'm like, okay, I didn't realize that. And mobilize is a very specific term. But there's
what do you mean by mobilize?
We know what it means. When the Democrats say go out in the streets, they're not saying to sing songs, hold hands under a rainbow like Kumbaya. Right, they're saying form a gigantic mass so that far left extremists can firebomb buildings.
Were you talking about Democrat politicians or just people who support the Democratic Party?
Establishment shills, like people who worked in the deep state and Clinton and things like this. We'll get into that story. What I was going to say is one story that's been bubbling up recently is that this is the year the demographic cliff is supposed to start. And, I didn't know about this because when the financial crisis happened, I guess, how old was I? 22 years old? 21, 22? And for me, I was broke as a joke as it was. So when the market crashed and bottomed out, here's the floor, right? I'm right here. Everybody else is here. They go down. I didn't really notice much. I was like, still poor.
Yeah.
But when this happened, what most people at the time were talking about is that people stopped having kids. And so now it has been 18 years. We are supposed to see a new generation of workers entering the workforce, going to colleges, and they don't exist. So this is going to cause a massive train wreck in our economy in ways that we don't exactly know how that's going to happen. So when I say society is crumbling and the end is nigh, I'm just thinking about, these movies that are bombing, these video games that won't sell. And for a while, I'm thinking, I really do think the issue is there's no kids anymore. There is a shortage of young people.
Well, toys right now are the number one consumer of toys are people our age.
Yeah, it's really.
Yo, I got my buddy bought me a Tim Pool. Shout out Andy. He bought me a Tim Pool Pokemon card and Pokemon toy because I'm a Pokemon. Most people don't know this. I literally am a Pokemon. They made a Pokemon after me. How many of you get to say that? Look, you think I'm joking? Take a look. Tim Pool. Did you guys know that? There you go.
I saw this, yeah.
Tell me that the little blue and black frog with headphones on named Tim Pool is not me, when that is the colors we use for the company and he's wearing headphones. I digress. You are right. Adults are buying toys. They made the adult Happy Meal. There's no kids. So what I will say is, to your question, Brett, when you ask, every administration is going to change and do this, I was thinking about what happens to a civilization when they undergo a population collapse. Now, I don't know for sure. It's probably stupid for me to speculate in this way, but there were the English peasant revolts after the Black Plague. And this was because with massive labor shortages following the Black Plague, the governments were trying to suppress, like the workers basically had a lot of leverage. So they were like, you need us for day-to-day operations in ways like you can't do. So we can have whatever we want. So the government tries suppressing them to stop them. So they tried using force against the leverage they had, which resulted in revolts. So I'm wondering, I don't think we're looking at as big a population drop-off as like the Black Plague. There was like 30 to 60% of the population of Europe. But I am wondering what's going to happen when we were just hearing the other day in Charlestown, West Virginia, businesses are closing because they can't find workers. There's I mention this all the time. There's restaurants that we've been to where they say that they closed after COVID and they can't reopen because they can't find anybody to do the work. So simple version, the next administration that comes in, if there will be one, it is going to be radicals. And they're with what this crisis brings, I think we're going to end up with hyper-polarized ideological solutions and factions vying for power that if they get the power, will try to enact very radical things. So with that being said, the Trump administration is doing something absolutely radical. And a lot of people might want to say, no, this is totally normal as America. But hold on. The past 30 years has been uniparty neoliberal rule with the Republicans saying, slow down there, Democrats. They've opened our borders, advised our children, the children of this nation to not have their own kids, to stop having kids because of climate change or to get abortions. Then they opened up the borders to allow tens of millions of people in. And Trump is seeking to reverse it in a way that is very, very different. They now are calling to mobilize against them. So there you go. Rant over. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.